But it was like the experiences, right? Like all those experiences that we have and what it teaches us, I think is why I love hunting, and was with the guys, and I was like, I really hate doing hard stuff. Like I hate it. But I was like, but I really love doing hard stuff with guys I love. And like, because it just builds you. Like it just grows you so much doing hard things. And that's what I tend to want to seek, are these like experiences.
Welcome to the next episode of the Huntxp podcast. This one's a cool one, man. One of the things we love about Huntxp is just meeting other hunters, not necessarily people who are in the industry or you might know from Instagram, but just people who get after it, get out there and have some awesome stories. We had the opportunity tonight to bring one of those people on, and Garrett Davis. I know him through a mutual connection through people I hunt with and my family, and he's a hunter in Kansas and just got back from his first elk trip. And I love these kind of conversations, Johnny, because it's just becomes this conversation of fellow hunters. We got nothing to prove. We're just talking about what we've learned in the field, stories we've got to share. And so I'm excited to jump in with Garrett Davis. And I'm sure we'll find out a little bit about Kansas hunting. I know you have a little experience. I have a zero experience about that down there. So it'll be cool to hear the nuances and differences from what our norm is versus what his norm is. So stick around for that. Johnny, I did the thing we're all about. I got a friend into hunting. I was so stoked about it.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you the story. I know I was texting you about it, but so I'm at church and my buddy who comes to church with me, he comes up to me and he shows me this orange card. He's like, I have this orange card. I was like, that's a hunter safety card from Colorado. That's cool, man. He's like, I've always wanted to hunt. I got this. My buddy wanted to shoot at the range, maybe wanted to hunt. He's like, can we go hunting? I'm like, dude, you absolutely asked the right guy. Let's go. I was like, how about tomorrow? We've got a northwest wind tomorrow. And so as it happened, as we've talked about on the podcast before, I'm working with all of these companies with 10 Point, Wicked Ridge, Baronet Blinds, Schwacker to put together this kind of kit of some of the best gear to get your kids into hunting. Well, I'm like, doesn't have to be a kid. I've got all the stuff, man. It's perfect. Yeah. So we went out, I dropped the kids off at his house, picked him up. His wife was kind enough to watch him until mine was ready to hang out with her. My spot's like 40 minutes away, jumped up there. I was giving him, just so green. So I'm like, you have to be quiet. Like he's smart. So he was picking it up really fast, but showing him the crossbow. Luckily he had, of course, his firearm and hunter safety stuff. So he was acquainted with that, but I just gave him a brief rundown with that. And it's so intuitive and great. So he was on it right away. And we set the blind up and I'm like, they're going to come from right there. Just keep your eye right there. Yep. And in my mind, I'm like, I hope we see one. Literally 20 minutes, just 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there it is. And he stayed super still. He got the memo and the doe stepped out and stared right at the blind because the blind was new. Sure. But she couldn't pick us out in that thing.
Yeah.
She couldn't, which was great. I was like, well, here's your test, Baronet. Will it work in a new location where a doe's not used to this? She could tell it was a different feature, but she couldn't tell that it was a danger.
Sure.
And she turned and thump, just pulled the trigger. And I heard a poof, and I'm like, you hit it. Way to go, dude. And I got it on. I was filming it. So we'll have the video out on the YouTube channel sometime here. He was just stoked, just over the moon. And I just right away, I was like, dude, you got to understand that's crazy. No. That your first 20 minutes, you got on a deer and you got to take a shot and it was wild. And we're sitting there, we're going, we're going to find this deer. I'm like, we're going to find this deer 20 yards in the woods. And this dude's going to have 40 minutes total of his whole hunting career and already have venison in the freezer,
Sure.
which is just the best. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then as what happens, sometimes in hunting stories is there's plot twists. And so we walk up and I look at the bolt. I'm like, oh, crap. It's like, oh, shoot. And it stinks. It's green.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, dude, this is not great. So we looked at the footage and sure enough, he was back a little bit, but she also kind of lunged or dipped forward a little bit.
Yeah.
So that didn't help him at all. So I'm like, well, best case scenario, you clip the liver and also the guts. So we got back to the car. I'm like, we might just need to go home and just leave it. And then the coyotes started just going off. I'm like, crap, dude.
Yes.
I'm like, I couldn't tell by the footage just on my little screen. So I was like hearing all these coyotes yipping like real close. Like, oh, dude, let's go check the blood. We started looking at the blood and it looked really good. The blood trail was super strong. Then we hit a bed and I'm like, oh, crap. I'm like, we jumped it. I'm like, we got to get out of here. We got to back out. And so, that sucks for a new hunter. It was like awesome.
Yes.
And then
I
could just see it on his face. Like I've done that before. What's up, podcast listener? Unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties during podcast recording. So you will have to tune in to next week's episode to finish the recovery story. But here we go. We'll keep going with the podcast where our tech picked back up. Well, because of some technical difficulties, we lost Johnny before we were done filming the intro. So there you go. But we're very stoked to have Derek on the podcast. We're excited to introduce you, Huntxp community, to him and introduce him to ourselves because we haven't fully met him yet. But I can tell we're going to hear some great stories. He shares our common heart for chasing experiences, not just game, to fill a tag. And if you're a trad bow hunter, you're going to resonate with this. If you've had some experiences out west, you'll resonate with it. And if you've always been intrigued with hunting in Kansas, you're going to pick up a few things. And there's just some good life lessons along the way, interwoven in our stories, his story that we talk about together. So let's get him on the pod. I hope that you appreciate this story and getting to know a fellow hunter in Kansas. Well, Garrett, you're here, man.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Huntxp podcast. It's good to have you.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on. It's nice to meet you both.
Yeah. Yeah. We not only do we not know you that much, we got some time to catch up before we hit record. But please introduce yourself as best you can to our audience, where you're at and what you've been after and what you like to hunt.
Yeah, absolutely. So Garrett Davis, I am from Kansas, about central Kansas, Wichita area. Do a lot of whitetail hunting. That's been kind of my go-to for a long time. Got a wife and one son who's about 2 years old. So his birthday is November 14th. Yes, I did not plan that very well.
I was going to say.
Yeah, hey. It happens. So I learned on that one. Life is about learning, I'm pretty sure. So,
Johnny, don't you have a kid that's like
my oldest son,
the 15th
my first
too?
child is November 15th. And I was like, what was I thinking?
Yeah, so we might get into it, but
yeah.
I had a phenomenal year that year before he was born. And I was freaking out because I was like, okay, he's coming like November. Ended up shooting my first buck with a recurve that year, actually.
Wow.
Second day of season. So had some early success, so it worked out. But I guess, Johnny, we learned, and now we can plan better.
We learned.
Yeah.
Yep. We learned.
Yeah. So, yeah, Kansas, whitetail hunting, that's been my thing. I switched over to traditional probably 2 or 3 years ago. Been shooting just traditional, sold my compound, and going full stick.
That's why? Yeah. Tell us.
Well,
what were you thinking?
I don't know. Ultimately, I don't know what I was thinking. No, I just, there was just something about the experience of it. It just felt good, and I started shooting one just kind of as for fun, just as a hobby. And then I was like, okay, this is pretty awesome. I was like, I'm not too bad at it. So I was like, surely I can kill something. Ultimately in Kansas, where I was hunting a lot, all my shots were super close. So I was like, okay, I haven't really shot a deer past 20 yards. I was like, I can get another 5 yards out of that, and have 15-yard shots with a traditional bow. So played with it for a couple years. JD, I know you're kind of playing with yours, I think. So
Yep.
kind of did that for a couple years, took it on some doe hunts, and then as rut kicked up, kind of hung the recurve up for the rut, and then but shot a doe with it and was like, yeah, I think that's the first time I cried after a hunt.
Wow.
Wow.
It was pretty emotional. I put in a lot of effort trying to get it done, and then made it happen. And then I think the year after that, I kind of was like back and forth, ran out of time. You know how that goes, and picked up the compound again. And then shortly after that, I think the year after that, I went full recurve and just was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it.
So help me understand, because I've not experienced this yet. I'm really curious. What's the difference between Rosie, sweetheart? Can you take the dog upstairs?
Yes.
Yeah, you do.
So Johnny, I like your stash,
dude. I was digging yours as soon as you stepped on here. So it's
Well, I always admire a good stash.
Same.
So it's looking good.
Something to be said about a good stash.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's fair.
You guys are making me want to just like mid podcast pause and go upstairs and just shave and see if anybody notices like mid.
Yeah.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right. I'm gonna just back up with my. Well, hold on. Let me make sure that she's actually
kids, man.
Yeah. My mustache has become my entire personality for some reason, and like I've had it for like 7 years, and it's like I can't shave it. I don't know what to do.
Right. Yeah. Well, you wear it well.
I
really do admire it.
Yeah,
I started dating my wife.
Shave that thing.
And it was during COVID when we first started dating, so we were wearing masks, and she's like, so I finally took it off and unveiled the holy stash, and she's like, I never thought I'd date somebody with a mustache, and so of course, before our first date, I go shave it, right? And she's like, yeah, don't do that. She's like, don't do that again, please.
It's the same. Whenever I like shave, like every once in a while, I'll like kind of clean shave, and my wife is like, do not ever do that. You look way too young and weird, and I don't like it. And I'm like, fine, it'll stay.
Fine.
Anyways,
I'm good.
I had toyed. I'm sorry. I don't mean to make this take forever tonight, but I did toy with the idea of starting a podcast called the Wild Stash Podcast.
I mean, I'd be in.
I didn't know what to talk about other than mustaches, but needless to say, it hasn't started.
I would aspire to be on that podcast if you started it. I don't know if I ever could. My stash looks like Super Mario or like the Mario character, and I can't do anything about it. I don't know.
That's a good stash, though.
That's perfect.
You can't complain about that.
Is it though? Is it?
Oh yeah.
I'm not Italian, so I don't know if I could.
Fair.
I'll just back up and ask the same question, but it's great. Thank you for that interlude.
Oh yeah, no problem.
So I just want to pause on that for a second. Can you, if you can, describe what was different about harvesting an animal with a trad bow or a recurve that got you so hooked? For those of us who are trying that but haven't experienced, what is it that's distinct about it?
I think for me, a lot of it was just the understanding that, like, once it happened, I didn't realize how much effort it really took. Like, the practice, the dedication to the sport, right? Learning form, tuning arrows. Like, I'm not a compound hater. Guys can shoot with training wheels. That's fine. But ultimately, sorry, everyone. No, I don't have a problem with compounds. But it is, I think we can all agree that there are some aspects of it that are a little easier, just as far as tuning it, and you can get in the weeds with the compound. So honestly, one of my kind of deciding factors when I was deciding, okay, do I want to go fully, traditional, or do I want to go stay in the compound, is I was like, if I go compound, like I want to dive into it. I wanted to really just learn about it.
Yeah. And
figure it out the right way. 'Cause I pretty much picked up a compound when I was 16, went down to the old Dick's Sporting Goods and got the old bear, and that year shot a couple of deer, and it was awesome. And that hooked me too, obviously, but it was like relearning the sport, right? It's like, it was like going back to 16 again and being like, and then when it finally happened, I'm like, wow, like that was a lot of effort. The experience, again, it wasn't about just that one shot. Like it was like all the experience that combined to make that thing happen. And it just was like, wow, it was amazing. It was awesome. And I can't explain it. I mean, I guess I did explain it, but
it's a mystical experience.
Yeah.
It can't be explained.
Exactly.
No, I think you explained it well. I think what I've heard from people who make that switch or add that to their arsenal, it's for the love of challenge and the desire to learn the animal in a different way and experience the hunt in a different way. I'm curious, how did you get in? Go ahead.
No, on that, so learning the animal in a different way, like I've thought about that a lot recently. We recently sold our family farm. So we had 300-ish acres out in Southeast Kansas. And if you know anything about whitetail hunting, it's a pretty good thing to have. And so, we recently lost that, and, it's just the family, like I didn't own it. So, there was just decided to move on with it. Right. And, that was pretty tough, but what I realized is with the recurve, I didn't even really have to relearn the animals, right? Like my sets were still solid for it. Like most of my shots were tight as it was. And so one thing that I am excited about this year, like fast forward 6 years, right? I'm like, I kind of got to relearn this animal. Like I don't have anywhere to hunt. I'm going to be looking at, some public land. I'm going to be kind of diving into new experiences, potentially going out west for some mule deer on public land. And so and if I stick with the whitetail, which I will, obviously I love whitetail hunting, but I'm going to have to relearn those animals and relearn, the woods, if you will, learn my woods, work on my woodsmanship. Cause it was all set. I mean, I set all those sets. Like I still put in that work and learned that at one point, but it's going to change a lot. And so I'm kind of excited for that this year, honestly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Johnny, you good on the tech? Just wanted to pause real quick.
My phone is like not charging, which is kind of strange.
Okay.
I've got it plugged in, but it doesn't seem to be like charging well right now, which is kind of a pain.
You think you're going to be okay?
I'm at
Don't die on us, Johnny.
17%. We'll just kind of see what happens, I guess.
If you just,
I don't know,
randomly disappear, I'll let people know. Be like, Johnny.
We will make fun of you a little.
That's fine.
We will
criticize
your mustache, probably.
Yeah, and I'm here for that. I just don't know why it's doing that. I haven't had this issue before, so I guess we'll see.
I'll just tell people you were so offended by the training wheels comment that you're
it's like, I'm out of here.
I'm out. No.
Diddy, you're going to have to do some major editing on this one.
Yeah, well, our intern is.
Oh,
and I'm sure she'll appreciate me saying that as she's editing this, but no, you're right. We do it all the time, and it's pretty simple to do, so no sweat.
Cool.
So Garrett, let's back up a little bit. How did you get into hunting overall, or what was your journey? Because you got this family farm. You said something like 6 years, but how did you come to hunting in the first place?
Yeah, so I apologize. The 6 years was kind of that transition. Well, I don't know where I was going with 6 years, honestly.
That's okay.
Anyways, I grew up out there, so we had it for about 25 years. And so when we lived out there for a short period of time, which is what I tell people I grew up out there. I know it was only a couple of years that we actually lived out there, but that's kind of what, I don't know. It really played a big role in my life and who I am. And so I just tell people, hey, that's where I grew up. But how I got into it, we've always kind of hunted. We did a lot of like pheasant hunting as a family, the grandpa, uncles, my dad, brothers. We do a lot of pheasant hunting, some deer hunting, a lot of your guys' type of hunting, like a little deer camp during rifle season, go out there, if it's brown, it's down, just make it happen. And that was a blast. Like we had a lot of good times out there. And I think I met a guy at church, and because I honestly don't know what sparked me to get a bow, but I think I met a guy at church that kind of was talking about it. And that year I went and bought a bow and just started shooting. I remember shooting. I had a little notebook and I'd shoot 100 shots every night, and probably wasn't good for me because I didn't know anything about form. So I'm just flinging shots every night and got pretty good at it. And I think it was the next year I actually shot my first doe and buck that second year. And that I actually didn't shoot on our family farm because I couldn't drive. So I actually had some private land in town, go like seek one action, you know? So I was like hunting behind neighborhoods in our town. Cause at this point we had moved back to town. And so I would, it was a little piece of woods in there and I went door knocking and figured out who owned it. And, you know, I would ride my bike over to it with my bow in the mornings and hunt.
That's
and
awesome, man.
ended up shooting
That
a
is
doe
awesome.
and a buck a little later in the season. And yeah, right. I mean, I could look at people's houses while I was sitting in my tree stand. Now it's probably one of the scariest things for me because I'm like, dude, I want this thing to run and go jump in someone's playground and die, you know? But
Right.
They would do that. They'd jump right in the sandbox and get blood everywhere. I'm sure
yeah,
they would.
you know,
Yeah.
it's just not something so I hunted that for quite a few years too. It obviously wasn't as prime as our other piece, but being close, you know, our farm was where we moved when we moved back to town was about an hour and a half ish away from where we lived. So, you know, good weekends. I'd be out there pretty much every weekend, and then take some time off in November and hunt out there. But you kind of have to plan it. You can't really jump in there after work or anything like that. And so that little piece in town was pretty nice for that. And I can't even count how many does out of that piece. I only shot that one buck, but I mean, I loved it for filling the freezers. There was this little acorn patch, and they'd hit that thing up, and yeah, it's
That's
pretty easy.
awesome,
Drive
man.
the truck up to it. You know, you're not far from the meat locker, and I mean, you can't beat it.
So I would love to hear a few stories from either the compound or recurve era in Kansas. Some of your most memorable that you really cherish or would tell a friend as you were getting to know them.
Yeah. So one is I wish for everybody that didn't talk to me the 20 minutes prior to this, I'm currently living in Oklahoma for work. So this isn't my normal living conditions. I have my house back in Kansas, and all my mounts and stuff are in there. And I kind of wish I was there to show you these as I tell you this story, but because, you know, they're not giants, but there's some great experiences with them. And that's what I love. And so I would say one of them was I think it was like the third buck that I shot. And at this point I was pretty heavy into this sport. Had some great success before it. Like, I mean, I think this is like year 3 of hunting. So like 3 years in a row, 3 bucks, nothing super special, a couple really old ones. But I was sitting this train track. And so I was right off the edge of the train track on the edge of our property. And down below me was this deep creek bank. And so we called it the Eagle's Nest because if you look off the one side, which we didn't think any deer would come by, it was like 40 feet straight down. So
wow.
Not ideal for archery, right? And this was with a compound, but I was sitting in that stand, and sure enough, a buck comes out on that side. And so not knowing much about archery and deer anatomy and all of this, right? So I shoot center mass, double lung's going to be perfect. Well, it ends up coming out about center of his sternum, right? So one lunged him.
Incline.
Yep, because the angle. And so, you know, I think I smoke him. So I'm like, dude, this is awesome. It's going to be, you know, quick blood trail. And we start looking. I gather up my brothers and my dad, and I always took off Thanksgiving week. It was always the best time out there for whatever reason. I think it was kind of like a secondary rut hitting right about then, or maybe a couple hot does will come in right there at the end of November. And I always loved it because all the family would be out at our farm. So we'd usually spend holidays out there. And so I gather them all up. I'm stoked, you know, and we go tromping through the woods and bump, and he takes off running. I'm like, not as good of a shot as I thought, right? So at that point, blood dries up. I'm like, hey guys, let's just call it a night, right? We did what we could for the night. Let's leave him alone. So we go back, stay the night, and the next morning we start doing some grid searching. And we grid searched all day long and couldn't find anything, couldn't find blood, couldn't find him. And so on the west side of our property, our neighbor's property is a real steep hill, which I know you don't think there's those in Kansas, but there are occasionally. And just a nice gradual hill, but it gets pretty high up. And so I was like, well, I'm gonna go up there and glass our property. You could see down below, and so see if I could see a body. Honestly, I probably went up there because I wanted to cry or mourn a little. I think it was kind of like a little mourning time for me. It's like, and so I went up there, and as I was going up there, I sat up there for a while. It's like, hey, I just need to go back, hang out with family or whatever. I think this is over, and this is on day 3. So after I shot him. And as I was coming down, my dad texted me. He's like, because I was kind of texting him back and forth, and he's like, "Hey, have you prayed about it?" And I was like, well, that's kind of silly. Like God doesn't, he doesn't care if I find this, does he? Like, does that, And I was like, okay. So I kneeled down and prayed, and I'm not kidding you. I found on the other side of the fence, so the neighbor's property, which I had permission. We knew them pretty well, so we didn't hunt it, but they were cool with us going up there and stuff. And when I knelt down, there was a little twig with one single drip of blood.
Wow.
And so I said, he crossed right here. And it's just God, right? Like just God working through that. And so I called my dad. So he came over and we just started walking up that hill with no direction really, other than, okay, if I was a deer that didn't feel so good at this point, where would I go? And my dad ends up finding him up under a thicket. It was 2 miles away from where I shot him. And there was no reason to have found that buck other than straight persistence, just me wanting to make sure I found him. And it's awesome. I don't think we really got much meat off of him. Obviously, we have a lot of coyotes out there and stuff, but just having that Euro mount and that story is like just really cool to me, because it's just like it's very easy. I mean, I'm sure you guys have gotten defeated before, and it's really easy. And I know I have plenty of other times, and it's really easy to just kind of be like, all right, I gave it what I could. It's time to get back in a tree stand and try again, And so that was a really pretty cool story for sure.
Johnny,
remember that one.
That reminds me of your buck last year, because you hit one lung on that guy, right?
Yes.
Like their endurance on that one lung is often really surprising.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And had I known, because I thought smoked him, and JD saw the footage too, and he's like, smoked him, dead. But it was.
You can go watch the footage if you want.
Yeah, you could. But the blood was great, but same thing. After about 200 yards, I found a bed, and I was like, oh shoot. So I backed out, and he ended up going, I think it wasn't quite half a mile. It was a little less. But the thing is, right, like a one lung deer can just go. It's going to die, but it can go. JD, it actually reminds me a little more of Jer's deer last year that just went and went and went.
That's
and that
right.
was like his Jer's deer was like a 3 or 4 day recovery, similar to what you're saying, Garrett.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think we bumped him that second day when we were doing the grid search.
Sure.
I mean, we had a lot of people out there walking, so I think we bumped him that second time. I think that's what really just sent him over the edge to get out of Dodge. And there wasn't a lot between, cover-wise, between us, where I shot him, and that kind of where we found him up in those thickets. That's kind of where the thickets started on that hill. So it was a lot of just kind of shorter pasture grass. And so I think he just hightailed it on that second wind. And those one lung deer, scary. Like I'd almost rather take like full guts sometimes. I don't know. They're tough.
So Garrett, one of the things I'd love to hear from you as someone from the Northwoods, Upper Midwest, is what are the particularities about the Kansas environment that you're used to that say if I came down there, and it'd be pretty sweet to hunt with you sometime. Let's just say that that happens. What are you going to tell me about what I'm going to experience that might be different from more woods or Upper Midwest that I'm used to?
Yeah. Well, and I'm not super familiar with what you're kind of dealing with up there, but if I am thinking right, it's pretty hilly, right?
In some areas, yeah.
Yeah. Is it a lot of like agriculture that you have up there?
A lot of heavy, dense woods in some of our areas. A little bit of ag, but not a ton of ag.
Well, my brother-in-law, he just started hunting last year with me, and he's, was all jacked up because he married into us with 300 acres, and 1 year later, he doesn't have it. So we'll see his true colors if he really married for my sister or if he married for the property. But
there you go.
no, super super good guy.
Yeah.
But so I've been kind of working with him, talking through public land and like, hey, what to look for. And so what I've been telling him is like, hey, some of these big pieces of walk-in or public land, a lot of it's, agriculture. So we have, I don't know if you guys have like walk-in land out there where it's like privately owned. You do have? Okay.
Yeah.
So we have quite a bit of that. We don't have as many like public land areas. Usually it's around lakes, which don't have much woods. So a lot of this, walk-in, a lot of times it's a lot of agriculture. And so I told him, I'm like, dude, don't go look and see, if you have time, drive out there, see what kind of agriculture you got that you're working with. And then B, like, don't be afraid to hunt by the road. Like there's some little pockets of cover, and those deer they'll pile up in there, and there may not be hundreds of deer in there, but you'll find some good deer in there. And so if it is, mostly agriculture and you got some like little draws through it or little pockets of timber up against the trees or whatever. And I'm not necessarily talking just hunting, a fence line on the side of the road, but sometimes there's like little corners and such. And those have been pretty good. Last year, I kind of got into some public land just to play around in it. And I found some pretty nice deer actually in some of those areas. And I think they get overlooked a lot because they're by the road. And so a lot of times guys are like, well, there's not going to be much there. And especially during rut, those deer are moving quite a bit or can. And so they start pushing doe. That doe might want to head into that cover and lay down for a little while. And that can be a pretty bomb spot a lot of times.
Yeah.
I don't know if that helps you. I mean, here's one for your editor. Can you edit me saying specifically right? Because I never can say it right.
No, we're definitely leaving that in. We're definitely.
Okay. So specifically, if you're wanting specifics
you did it.
on, I did. That was pretty good. I'm also was homeschooled and I'm pretty dyslexic. So, there's that going for me. But
me too. It's great. That makes two of us.
It makes great hunters. I'm positive of it.
Tell me more. What do you mean? Stop right there. What do you mean?
The homeschooled or the public or the the dyslexic?
I think I want to hear what makes.
I just meant dyslexic.
Yeah, dyslexic.
Yes.
So see, it goes back to the public land, right? So guys are like, dude, that little piece isn't any good. But I was thinking that it wasn't good, but it came through my brain the wrong way. So I'm like, it's got to be good.
There you go.
And then I hunt it and I shoot big bucks, right? So there's a little bit of that in there. But
can I answer my own question? Garrett, let me stop you. Let me answer my own question. So one of the superpowers of people who are dyslexic is the ability to take something that's complex and they have a tremendous amount of resolve to move towards that complexity and develop simplicity for themselves. As this neurodiverse people had to find different patterns of learning to move towards mastery. And so I actually heard this in I flung 100 arrows. I didn't really know what I was doing, but that's actually kind of the dyslexic way. Like you move towards complexity and then you're able to synthesize things once you reach mastery almost more articulately with more articulation.
There you go.
Than one could in passing because you put in all the grind and effort to learn it. And because you learned it differently, you often have creative and different perspectives on, contexts like public land that people aren't really thinking about because you had to put the effort in. So
it's touching on what you said about the difficulties that we've kind of dealt with being dyslexic. And I'm not trying to make it a sob story, but obviously it's a learning disability in a sense. And so I truly believe my mom, and I bless her heart, because I'm sure I was a pain in school being homeschooled. And but so I never took meds for it or anything, just because she's like, hey, you can figure this out, right? And so I think from an early age, like you said, we had to learn how to figure things out. We kind of had to learn how to do it differently so it works for us. And so I think that's gone with me a lot in life, like between my career and hunting for sure. Like, yeah, you just figure it out, right? Like that's just, I don't know. You just kind of have to. You gotta have to, and if you don't, then you're not gonna know how to read the word. Sometimes that's okay too. Yeah.
Love it.
So
Love it. Thank you for indulging my aside. I
yours
appreciate
was
it.
much deeper and more poetic than my answer.
Well,
Beautiful.
I enjoyed that part. And then I enjoyed because
man.
I've obviously known JD a long time, and I don't think I've ever actually teased you about it. I hope I haven't in a mean way. But when all of a sudden had this beautiful, eloquent thing, and then you were like, I don't know how to say articulation. And I was like, yeah, there it is.
It was very meta actually when that happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
that's
it's
great.
good. That's dyslexic in a nutshell right there.
It is.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Johnny, what would you say, knowing Kansas and the particularities? Anything you would add to what Garrett said there?
So I have only hunted Kansas one time. My sister married a Kansas boy, and she goes down to Kansas and shoots. They have some land, and she shoots a bigger buck than I do every year, pretty much, and she does it very easily. But when I was down there, what I noticed on these particular properties is there were a lot of like prairies and prairie grass and things like that, but there would be draws that just had some sort of timber in them, and the deer were just stacked in those areas, and it was like you're just waiting. I was rifle hunting too, so I didn't have to be close, but I was thinking through archery while I was sitting there, and I was like, man, I would set up there, I would set up there, and it was really fun to kind of watch. That's where the deer all funneled through, and I was like, man, in some ways it makes it predictable. Not that it makes it easy, but it makes it predictable compared to giant tracts of timber that we're used to hunting in northern Wisconsin, where it's like, man, deer could seemingly go anywhere. Whereas I was looking at Kansas, this property in particular, I was like, seems like they have to go there. There's nowhere else for them to travel safely.
Yeah.
And that proved to be true, which was really interesting.
Yeah. No, that's very accurate. You can find some, like our 300 acres was primarily timber. So
yeah,
I could see like that made it a little more difficult, obviously. And
sure.
We could play the terrain, and obviously I learned and grew up out there to where you can definitely find those little, funnels and pinch points and stuff. But I think what I've realized just looking at a lot of public land on Onyx and such, like, yeah, it's a lot more of the pasture and ag, and those draws and little pockets of timber are, I mean, what you got to focus on. And
yeah. Garrett, you said something before we came on the pod that really resonated with what we're all about, what we care a lot about. And you said for you as a hunter, you've progressed to a place where it's not just about the kill, it's about the experience. And I would love for you to tell us a little bit about how you came to that and what sort of experiences you've had recently that have reinforced that mentality.
Yeah, for sure. So I think, well, we'll just kind of go back the last 2 seasons. I've gone 2 years now and haven't pulled my bow back on an animal. Now, part of that could be because I have a recurve. Could be. But with that being probably like my least, what a lot of people would say is like unsuccessful seasons, like my 2 least successful seasons, they've been the best 2 years of my hunting career. Like I mean, I say career like I'm in the industry, but like my hunting life, right? Like I've absolutely loved them. And what I realized this year, I actually got a tag to go elk hunting in Colorado, and I was unsuccessful. But what I started realizing on the mountain is the experience of that hunt was so awesome. Like I dreamed about taking my bow on a Western hunt, backcountry. I mean, we were 10 miles deep, packed in, hiked in, and that experience was so awesome that it was like, I'm kind of okay with it. Like I learned a lot on that trip. I learned a lot about myself and being a father and a husband and hunting in general. Like I learned a lot about elk hunting, and what I kind of realized while I was out there is like, yeah, these last 2 years, like I haven't pulled my bow back, because there was a period on my elk trip where I'm like, dude, I haven't I haven't shot an animal in 2 years. I'm due for one, like I need to kill something. I need to draw my bow back, and, but what I realized is, okay, so, last season, 2024, went on my first backcountry hunt, but I didn't have a bow. So I was filming a couple guys. He was successful, shot a 340-inch 6x6.
Wow.
Just an awesome bull. And so I got to be real close and personal with that. A great trip is 9 days. I think we saw everything from sun to pouring rain and thunderstorms to getting blizzard in the last couple of days and sitting in the tent.
Whoa.
And then just awesome experience with guys that I love. And one thing that I mentioned on this year's trip was with the guys, and I was like, I really hate doing hard stuff. Like I hate it. But I was like, but I really love doing hard stuff with guys I love. And like, cause it just builds you. Like it just grows you so much doing hard things. Going back to the dyslexia, right? Like that made me who I am. Right. And just like these trips and these hard things that we do. And so that was 2024, successful for my buddy. I was successful. I mean, if anytime you go out west, if somebody shoots something on the trip, you're successful because you're packing meat out. Last year, whitetail, I was hunting in Kansas and with my recurve, chasing probably 174-ish inch 12 point from beginning of November to the end of season, December 31st. And I think I counted 8 encounters with them. Wow. Probably 4 of which were within compound range. And I mean, just some crazy experiences, like just a super fun hunt, super frustrating for sure at the same time. Right. But got to see him chasing does and grunting and making scrapes. And I mean, all within 40 yards of me. And wow. So just super, super awesome whitetail journey last year. Going and hunting with my buddies on some of their property out north in northern Kansas. And had a 150-inch 10-point come by just outside of recurve range. And, but passed him up, obviously I didn't want to take the shot I wasn't comfortable with. And the next morning my buddy shot him. And so like, that was just like a cool experience to be with them at their place. They live far enough away that it was kind of like a long weekend trip. And then this year I drew my first elk tag, got to go out in the woods chasing elk and carrying a bow this year, which was awesome, and just spending time with really awesome, godly men. And that was like super encouraging, just a great time. And 2 of the guys had mule deer tags and they both tagged out. And so like we still were successful. It was still a great trip, but all of those experiences, as I think of them, like there was a lot of years where I would bow hunt and I'd go sit in my tree stand and on the weekends, and then eventually a big buck walks by or a decent buck walks by and I shoot it and the hunt's over and it's like, okay, cool. And, but like the experience wasn't there. Right. Whereas like the last couple of years I've been focusing more on like last year I got to take my brother-in-law, and first time he ever hunted, and got to share that experience with him and sit in a tree stand right there with him, watch him pull back on a nice buck and shoot right over his back, and like, but that's like an awesome, I feel like I'm ragging on him really hard today. I hope he doesn't listen to this, but
don't send him the link. Don't send him the link.
I won't. But it was like the experiences, right? Like all those experiences that we have and what it teaches us, I think is why I love hunting. And, at this point, I look back on those and like, I've had 2 really great years, and yet I haven't even pulled my bow back. And like, I could look at all the negative aspects of this year coming up, right? We lost our family farm. I'm living in a different state. It's going to be really tough, but I'm like, okay, so a new challenge, right? Like a new adventure. And that's what I tend to want to seek, are these like experiences. And so for me this year, my plan is, potentially going out western Kansas and hunting mule deer, which I've never done, hunting public land, which I haven't had to do. I've done it some just because, but I'm going to have to learn that skill, right? Like of how to hunt public land. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to your podcast with you guys having the hunting public on and figure out how they do it, because they're doing something right, But
the one you should listen to is John Eberhart. Yeah, he hunts in Kansas on public and private, even though he's from Michigan, and he had some good intel. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. But I think that's ultimately, the experiences, and like the shot itself is such a minute piece of the story, right? And it's
Totally.
great. And like I love having the reminders of those hunts, right? Like that is one thing that I try to, find in the hunt in some form or fashion. So like, I
Yeah.
mean, it's as simple as I found some really cool, I don't know if I should say this. I'm gonna time out real quick. I don't know if I should say this. Can you take a feather off of a mountain that you find?
I don't know.
Like a bird feather? I don't know if you can. I don't know if it's anyways, we can go back to it, but finding those
Yeah.
experiences is like ultimately what I'm seeking, right? Like I'm seeking the experience. And
Yeah.
That's
obviously I
awesome.
love shooting big animals. Like who doesn't, right? But, that's what I've been thinking about and trying to remind myself of. And it is hard too.
Co-
Sometimes you put in all that effort in Colorado and,
Yeah.
spend a lot of time training and prepping and just doing all that, and it's unsuccessful, and a lot of people can think about that as an unsuccessful hunt. And
Mm.
for me, it was very successful, and
Yeah.
that might sound kind of cliche, and I'm making an excuse for not shooting one, but ultimately, like I loved it. It was awesome.
Couple things that
No, I
resonate
love
with
that
me.
mentality, man. That's yeah.
JD, what is the number one thing that I tell anyone who goes out west hunting elk? What should they have with them? Do you remember what I say?
A mule deer tag.
Always have a mule deer tag in your pocket because you will fill your mule deer tag more than likely. So anyway, I give that advice all the time. But the other thing, like more seriously, you had said too before we started recording that like you write a journal after you harvest an animal, and I do something similar. I don't like write a story, but I write the date, I write the time, I write the weapon, I write where it was, all that. And I will sit down in my basement
Yeah.
sometimes, and I'll just pour over that. And this goes back to my first year when I was 12 and I'm 37 now. And I can remember every
Wow.
detail of every single one of those hunts. And like you said too, it's not necessarily the kill shot. That's a very small part of it, but I can remember that animal walking in. I can remember, I was like, for whatever reason, I was really shook up as this one was walking in. I was nervous or whatever, but you can
Mm.
remember all of it. And I mean, that's what it's seriously all about. And I think right now, this time of year, especially, and
Mm.
you're in a different state, but like for a lot of us, I think this resonates with most outdoorsmen and outdoors women, but like it calls to you, right? Like it's like a longing in your heart to
Mm.
like get outside, get away, turn your phone off, whatever it is, but just to be silent and be still, sit in God's creation, reset yourself, however you would want to term that. But man, I've been feeling it too. Like the last few weeks, we had a cold front in up in northern Wisconsin, and I'm like, I like can't even sit at work right now. And I did, of course, but I'm like, I can't bear this. I just need to be in the woods. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
For sure. No, it's an odd thing that happens in the fall to my body.
Yes.
It wants me to go hunt, and
Yeah.
Mm.
that's what's been kind of, alarming almost, is like I haven't been able to do my preseason scouting and my prep and all of that, right? And part of that's because I'm living in a different state, and part of that's because we sold the farm, and so it's just gonna be a whole different journey, and I just have to, you know, jump on it and see where it takes me ultimately.
Yeah.
Fantastic, dude. Garrett, is there any question that you wanted us to ask you or story that you wanted to tell to close?
No, I mean I don't think in particular. I mean I have so many hunting stories, bro, that are so cool, but it's just like it could go for hours. Go for hours and hours.
Right. Right. Right.
No, I don't think so. I'm gonna ask you guys a question at the end, but that'll have to wait till the end.
That's cool. Well, why don't you give us one more story and then ask us your question?
All right. Let's see here. I gotta make sure I have my question prepped here so that way I don't lose it. All right. Okay. All right. So one more story.
Yeah, why not?
Okay. So Do you want to hear about my first recurve buck harvest?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. It's not very cool.
Okay.
I want to
No,
hear it
it's great.
anyway.
So
Yeah.
found out we were pregnant, right? Found out he's due in November.
Mm.
Acre Leroy's his name. Awesome dude.
Mm.
So he was born November 14th. Now, going back, I'm like, this is not good, right? Like that's like about the time I start taking off work, and now I'm gonna be taking off work, but for a whole nother reason. And so I was like, well, I'm going to try to get out early. That year, for whatever reason, the farmer that plants on our property, he planted corn. So I was like, okay, if he can cut right about the first, of season, right there at the beginning of the season, which our season starts mid-September, I was like, we might be in good shape here. Like we might get into something. And for whatever reason, he cut super early. I think it's early. I think corn's usually harvested a little later, but either way, he cuts the corn, right? So I'm in this cut cornfield. And I'm like, okay, this could be good. So I go out opening morning. I'm all jacked up. It's like hot as all get out. It's not like up north. Like opening day, it's like 80 degrees, right? So I'm wearing my camo. I'm doing my whole thing. Go out, set up, and I had been seeing. I got pictures of this one particular buck that was like pretty decent, but I was like, I think there's other deer in here that are gonna start hitting this now that he cut it. And so I go sit, and it just starts downpouring, and I got so cold because I had nothing. I just had like a t-shirt, some pants and whatever. So I got soaked, no rain gear. Don't know what I was thinking, and I left work a little early just to get out there. So I come home, and this is the life of a trad bow guy. Is I get home, and the next day I get off work early again. I was like, I'm gonna try it again. Second day of season, and I go shoot my bow a couple times in the backyard, and I'm just all over the place. And I'm like, what is going on? And I told my wife, I was like, I'm not going hunting. Like I'm just not gonna do it. I can't shoot. I can't hit anything. I don't know what's happening. Start freaking out about everything. Right? Is my bow? My arrows tuned right? What do I need to tweak? And I'm start overthinking everything. And my wife says, and this is how you know she's awesome. She goes, Gary, you just need to go hunt. If nothing else, you're going to go enjoy sitting in the tree and just enjoying God's creation. You just need to go sit. And I was like, okay. So first of all, if your wife ever tells you to go hunt, I mean, why not? Right? Like,
Wow.
Yeah.
it's a great time
Gotta
to hunt.
say yes.
She's telling you to. So I go out there. She's like, you're not going to hunt much in November, obviously, or not get to as much as you would normally. So she's like, just go. So I go out there, and I kind of set up in a little bit different location. I'm sitting there, and these doe come out in the field, and they start kind of working towards me. And then pretty soon after that, a buck comes out. I'm like, okay, it's not like anything super crazy. And he comes out, and he gets to 20 yards, and I'm literally just sitting there, and I'm filming him with my iPhone, and I send it to my buddy. I'm like, he's like asking how the hunt's going, and I send him that, and he knows that this is my first year, like really just really hammering the recurve, and he's also a traditional guy, and so he's like, if you don't shoot that, I will kick your butt when you get back here. And I was like, I don't know, like I've shot a lot bigger deer, and then I just start thinking like, it's not about that. Like it's not about that. And I was like, my son is going to be born, and my life is going to change, and my seasons are going to change, and everything's going to look different. And it's like, this is for him. Like if it comes out, I was like, if it crosses this spot, it's going to be at 15 or less yards. I was like, I just got to shoot him. And sure enough, he walks right through that spot. And, I mean, I just absolutely smoked it. And, he trots off probably 10, 15 yards, stops, stands there. And I was like, did I gut shoot this thing? Like, what is going on? And he just literally had no idea what happened, dropped over right there 10 yards from where I shot him. And I was like,
That's
what in the
wild.
world? You can't beat it. And so I'm sitting there, and I texted my buddy, and so he calls me, and he's like, do you need help tracking him, And I was like, nah, dude, like I'm going to drive the truck to him. Like he's in the field right here. And I'm on the phone with him, and a doe comes out from kind of the other side. And I was like, hold on, there's a doe coming. and she was like moving pretty quick for whatever reason. I don't know if she just kind of saw the commotion, was kind of weirded out, and she walks right where that buck did, and he's still on the phone. So I just set the phone on the seat of my on my tree stand, and she just smoked her. She ran 40 yards the other way and piled up, and I was like, dude,
that's a day.
This is easy. You know, I was like, this is easy. So second day of season, by far the earliest I've ever shot a deer. And I don't know if you could, it was this buck here. So.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice 8-point. Nothing like super crazy, but definitely a shot bigger deer, but like with a recurve, you know.
I'm glad we came to this moment because we haven't articulated it yet, but that buck that you just held up would be a trophy for most guys in our neck of the woods. But in Kansas, I realized, yeah, I know, but that's just illustrates the difference. Yeah.
They're built different up north and not in a good way. Yeah.
But you get a lot more meat. You usually get a lot more meat off of them up north, but their rack size typically, I mean, there are some really nice bucks, of course, but yes, Kansas, there are some absolute tanks.
Well, would you say the bodies make their racks look small, right? Like that's what it is. So
for sure.
Yeah. I think we've had some guests on before that have talked about the even, you know, microbiology of the soil down in Kansas and just the plethora of food source that they have and the different things that they browse on that promote antler growth and the volume of hunters up here that take out, you know, it's quite a treat to be able to shoot a 3.5-year-old up here. And they're just like, you got 120s, 150s running all over the place. And that would be, you know, the crown of the deer camp for most deer camps that year up here, you know.
You had, and I can't remember his name, so I apologize. One of your guests on that's up there near you guys. And it was a recent episode, I think, but you guys were kind of talking about that. And
it's probably Gabe. Yep.
Yeah.
Gabe Denzing.
Gabe. Yep. And kind of the, you know, how I was a little offended, you know, I was like talking about how easy it is in Kansas. I'm like, guys, it's not that easy. Okay.
Yeah. Let's not paint it too easy here.
But I think one of you kind of hit the nail on the head. Like, like if you can find a place to hunt, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Finding a place to hunt, it's not very awesome. Like, and that's hard for me because and that's one reason I want to go out west, right? Because it's like there is some more public land, not as many hunters are chasing mule deer there. And so it's like, hey, this is something I can do that I'm not just going to be inundated with people. And I love experiencing the outdoors, and I love that everybody can. And part of that is awesome, but part of it sucks because it's like when I'm out there, I don't want to see people. Like I want to just enjoy it as it is. And I don't get mad when I see other hunters. Like last year I had a guy walk 10 yards past me when I was hunting public land and then walks back. And I'm like, dude, this is like the prime of the morning. What are you doing?
Yes.
So finally I just get down. I'm like, okay. And he's like, yeah, I shot a buck over here. And so he's like, sorry, I'm gonna drag it through here. And I was like, okay, man, like at least you're successful, you know, like good job. So, but
that's awesome.
That's just part of it. So
hit us up with your question, man. What do you got for us?
Yeah. So this is a trivia question. So,
oh boy,
you guys are going to have to think of your answers, but don't say it. Like, I don't want you helping each other. So,
sounds good.
Okay. So what is the name of the major river that forms a border between Iowa and Nebraska and is a key waterway for the Midwest? I don't mean to put you on the spot. If you can't answer it, your editor's got to cut that out, then that's fine.
No.
I'm not trying to make you look bad.
Are you testing our Kansas geography? Are you exposing our ignorance right now?
This river does not run through Kansas.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think. I'd have to.
Johnny, do you know it?
Oh, it does it? No, it doesn't. No.
Okay. Iowa and Nebraska.
Right. Yeah, it borders it. It's the key waterway for the Midwest.
Yep. I think I know. But Johnny's out.
Dude, he didn't know the answer. he got nervous. He got nervous, bro. He couldn't handle it.
That couldn't be better timing for his phone to die right there.
That's awesome.
Can I answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it the Missouri?
It is. Good job.
Yes.
Dude.
You know how I know that?
You have a little Jamie sitting in the back corner that Googled it and told you, huh?
Well, we don't have a Jamie. That's hilarious. No, I know that because I hunted the Missouri in South Dakota.
Nice.
So I believe it's the Missouri that comes through Chamberlain, South Dakota, and we did mule deer hunting in South Dakota. One of the funnest things I've done. Just took a boat down the Missouri, and there's public land on either side of it, and
Nice.
so you can glass mule deer and then make a play on them, and it's beautiful. It's cool.
Can I bring up one thing before we end?
Yeah, go for it.
Where this question came from. So I'm part of a ministry called Dominion Ministries, and basically it's a ministry. Oh, okay.
He's
after we answered the question, once I give the answer out, now you come back.
No.
I don't know. Google it. You went and Googled it, didn't you?
Yeah, for sure he did. Yeah, for sure.
No, stop. So, okay. So as you guys were about to get to it here, my phone was like, it booted me out and it was like internal error. And I'm like, what? So I got booted out.
We booted you out?
No, I don't think
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can see you talking, but I can't hear you. Sorry.
His mustache looks pretty good.
Yep.
I wonder how many times we can mention the word mustache in this podcast. No.
It's the Missouri River.
It's on and off, man. Yeah.
Missouri River.
And he's
He did.
Missouri.
He mouthed it though before he dropped out. He's like, it's the Missouri. He totally did, and then it cut.
Okay.
One thing I know,
Nothing.
I might have some ADHD, but one thing about the mustache, speaking of mustaches, in traditional archery, if you don't have good form, and I had to go to Tom for this, Tom Klum, Senior. I'm sure you've heard the name, but
I've heard it from Melody, who we've had on twice now. To talk
I listened
about
to that podcast.
Traditional archery.
Yep. So Tom Klum Senior is like the GOAT of traditional archery form, right? But what I was doing is where my anchor point was, the string was catching the right side of my mustache and plucking hairs. And so for like 2 seasons, my mustache was like a good half-inch shorter on my right side.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So I broke down. I was like, I gotta go talk to Klum so he can save my stash. And yeah, he fixed my form a little bit, changed it up, and my stash is saved. So
the stash saver. People didn't know that about him, but he also saves stashes if you're
saves your form and your mustache.
Incredible story. Tell us about Dominion though.
Yeah, so it's a men's ministry that I'm a part of, based here in Kansas. We got guys that come from all over, and I'm sure you have listeners all over. So I kind of wanted to shout it out because it's a sweet, like men's ministry. We, basically it's a Christian organization. Friend of mine started it, just to really help, men in general, but also like, and I've had a passion for trying to like help develop younger generations of men into actual men. And so we do all sorts of stuff. We have a camp out once a year. So like we call it man camp. We're starting that tomorrow. So like, we're actually like, it's beginning tomorrow actually for us. So obviously this year won't be it's a little too late for your listeners, but it's a great opportunity to meet a lot of like-minded men that love the outdoors. And some of them it's new, like they're new to the outdoors, or like they haven't really spent much time in the outdoors or haven't had that opportunity. Like we talked about, like I was very blessed to have property and grow up in that kind of setting. And so we do a camp out. It's like a 2-day camp out, 2-night camp out.
That's awesome.
Where we teach archery. So we do some traditional archery. We have some like competitions. We do some like sumo wrestling style stuff and chopping wood. And it's just like it's a great way and I'm probably doing a very poor job of explaining it, but if you look up Dominion Ministries in Kansas, it's awesome. And yeah, dude, it's a great opportunity for people that want to get connected with other men that are like-minded Christian men and just grow their faith. And there's no phones, there's no nothing. It's kind of like that time, like I was talking about in the elk woods, it's like, you got to have that time as men, and not everybody has the opportunities that some of us might to go spend time hunting. And so it's a great opportunity to get guys out there and just kind of spend some time in the great Kansas woods.
That's awesome.
And we do some like Bible studies, and we have a guest speaker and usually to kind of talk and do those. So very encouraging. time. So anyways, check that out. I know
Yeah.
this is your podcast. You should be plugging something, not me, but
No, that's
I was in charge of the games this year, and one of the games is trivia. So that was one of my trivia questions. That's how
Oh,
all
there
this
you
ties
go.
together. So
I see. Okay, now I got it. It's all coming
testing
together.
it out for you.
Fan worked, except for Johnny. Didn't work on Johnny. He ducked out.
He didn't know.
He chickened out
He
for this
didn't
story.
know. Yeah.
Well, Garrett, this has been fantastic, dude. This is a joy to get to know you. I hope we get to hang out again so I hear some more stories like you told us. And thank you for sharing your experiences and letting us into your world a little bit. And it was fun to learn. We shared the dyslexic thing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And how it's influenced our hunting. But thank you. Thank you, man. Thanks for being on the pod.
Thank you. And yeah, definitely. Hopefully, if you can get down to Kansas sometime, and I'd love to run around some public land with you. And I mean, more than welcome to stay at my place. So if you ever need a place to stay when you're down here hunting, just let me know. And I can't offer you 300 acres to hunt anymore, but we could go chase it on some public land. So have you
awesome.
been putting points in?
I haven't even started anything with the Kansas system. So is it a point system?
So they recently switched over to that. I want to say they switched over to that probably 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. Right now, it's like a 1 to 2 point draw. So, I mean, if you think you're too late this year to get your point, I'm not sure because I'm from here. So I obviously don't have to do that. But out of state, you got to draw. So, but yeah, look into it. Definitely start getting a couple points. So hopefully in a couple of years, you can come down and smoke a giant 120 buck,
Yes.
Or what would be like giant for you, like 135, 140?
Yeah, so like this
190s?
one's 154. And then I don't know what that other one is. It's non-typical. It's hard to I'm not great at scoring those. These are great bucks for around here. But
solid.
I mean, a lot of it has shifted. Minnesota used to have a lot of concentrate. Minnesota and Wisconsin used to have a lot. And there's a big difference within Minnesota and Wisconsin in the different regions. So the driftless region, which both covers Minnesota and Wisconsin, probably produce the biggest bucks now. It used to be that northern Minnesota, because of all the logging that happened in northern in Minnesota and Wisconsin, there's not as much anymore, and there's wolves. So the population has decreased. We've talked about this on our podcast a couple times regionally, but southern Wisconsin and southeastern Minnesota in particular, the driftless region is the region of the Mississippi and all of its offshoots that produces like hill country, agriculture, all of the recipe for big bucks. And so Buffalo County, Trumbull County in Wisconsin still produce massive deer. But so it's a little skewed. Most of Minnesota, so on the other side of the river in Minnesota is some of the best hunting as well. So you can't quite characterize. I'm sure there's nuance in Kansas too, but those are the regions generally that produce, where you can get a 200-inch deer.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I mean, 150s is a solid buck. I mean, anywhere, and especially up north, but I mean, even here, I shoot 150. I'm thrilled with that,
Yeah. No, that's
this one probably ran like, maybe it might have broke 138 somewhere in there, maybe broke 140, but
if you shoot a 130 in the places we hunt, it's a good year for you, man. That's a great year.
And like I said, like this was a younger deer, so like, I really targeted a lot more mature deer, tried to, just because, and our farm wasn't the best in genetics, so like we had some goofballs. Like if I had my deer around me, I'd show you, and I can send you some pictures, but like some just goofballs, like one just had literally a fork on one side, but it was massive, and like a full other side.
Wild.
And he was a 6-year-old deer, and it was one of my, like, it was such a fun hunt. And so like, I don't know, it's just one of those things. It's like, I just like chasing them, and learning about them, but
they're pretty awesome animals, man. Well, this is great, dude.
Behind the scenes bonus banter.
I don't know this guy, so that'll be fun.
Garrett
Garrett, yeah, it's a mystery.
It'll be a mystery.
It'll be a mystery. It'll be fun. Cool. Well, I want to talk about the nested stuff. I have it behind me.
Mine is still sitting in my box right now.
That's all good, dude. Well, it's actually quite the situation to
Is it?
set up, as it should be, like if you've got a system that you can customize and stuff. So it's not too bad. You'll be able to figure it out. But I was like doing an unboxing video, and then I like stopped after I unboxed everything, because I was like, I'm definitely gonna record myself trying to figure this out. That's not gonna work out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Maybe if time allows, when you're up next week, we could take them out and do a hanging hunt.
Yeah, I'll be down.
Yeah.
There's a spot on public.
Yeah.
That is right next to a bunch of cornfields, and I want to do that thing that John Eberhardt talked about doing, where you rattle in early October and see what comes out of the corn. Like have the wind coming towards you, and then rattle, assuming that they're bedded in the corn, because I'm sure it's still standing, and it might be fun.
Yeah, worth a try.
Worth a shot. Yeah, I just got new subscribers on our YouTube channel. All I can really do is look at our YouTube channel. We got a question on just a lot of praise for Nick.
Yeah, as there should be. Yeah. Are you going to talk about your buddy's doe kill or no?
Yeah, we should talk about that. Or
do you talk about that on Sunday when you have Sam?
Oh, no, I think we can do both. We can set it up. All right, man. I'm back. All right. Okay, so shoot the breeze, talk about the doe kill, do some shout outs, and then the aggressively average thing was in the background banner of the last one, so we should just give him a direct shout out, I feel like. And then if time allows here, we'll get into the nested system, but we maybe can just save it for the next time if Garrett jumps on, or if we run out of time, or throw it in the back end or something. So ready, set, let's do this. Getting in the Huntxp zone. That's what the squint is all about. Welcome to the next episode of the Huntxp podcast.
I just didn't know if you guys were like waiting for me for the last 2 hours. You know, you're in a different time zone or something. I didn't know.
No, we were just hanging out. I was telling Johnny a story. I just took a buddy out for the first time hunting. So I was telling him a story about he got a doe within 20 minutes of being out there. So I was like,
right on.
Telling him, I was like, you got to know. It usually takes way more effort than this. So,
yeah, I took my brother-in-law out last year for the first time, and he actually started with a recurve bow of all things, and I was like, dude, that's a terrible choice, but good on you. Yeah. And he took a crack at a pretty nice buck for, your first buck and your first one with a recurve, and he shot right over his back, but it was our first day out, and I was like, we hunted a lot all season, but I was like, dude, I'm really glad you didn't shoot that, because that would have been terrible. Because I've been hunting with a recurve for a few years. And I'm like, it's not that easy, I promise.
Yeah,
most of the time.
Yeah,
right.
So. Yeah.
Well, how are you guys? It's nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, this is great, dude. Yes, we're good. So, give us where are you in Kansas, and give us a little bit of a brief bio of you. We're happy to tell you more about ourselves too.
Sure.
Before we jump in.
Yeah. So. Well, currently I'm sitting in Oklahoma City, in the city.
Nice.
Not my favorite, not the most ideal, but we have where I'm from and where I should be living is in Wichita, Kansas. So pretty central Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
We had property as of every year that I've been alive, besides this year, in southeast Kansas. So that's where I did a lot of my hunting. Pretty much all my whitetail hunting. So kind of more southern east Kansas. It's still central. It's just southeast of where Wichita is. So, but,
yeah.
And I'm in Oklahoma for work. So I moved out here in February. Was hoping to only be out here for 6 months. Moved back to Kansas before deer season, which doesn't look like that's going to happen. So, but
what kind of work do you do?
Plumbing. So
nice.
I'm a director of operations for a plumbing company, and we started a location in Oklahoma City. So I came out here to get it off its feet, and it's taken longer than we thought. And so here I am.
And you're still there.
Yeah.
And you're still there. That's great, dude.
My little sister was like, "Oh yeah, this guy has a podcast, and I met him, and you should go on it." And I was like, okay. I was like, sounds good. Actually, recently I started listening. I kind of just figured like, I did a little YouTubing back in the day. So like,
Nice.
I probably in that day would have been like, yeah, I'm a YouTube hunter,
Mm-hmm.
Definitely was not. So I was kind of like anticipating that, my little sister thinks she knows hunting or something. She starts talking to somebody and it's a couple kids that have a podcast. And I started listening. I was like, this is pretty sweet stuff. And so then
Oh, good.
when I got back from my elk trip and I texted you, I had listened to a few of them, but I was kind of like, I was like, dude, this is actually, they got some pretty crazy stuff. And then I was like, maybe I shouldn't text him because like, I don't have that much to talk about. I'm like, got the public land. What is it?
Nick.
Public. Yeah. The hunting public had all those guys
Yeah.
on. I was like, shoot, bro, like I don't even have anywhere to hunt this year. So I don't know what's going to happen.
Dude,
Oh,
but
good.
that's part of why we want to do this. Like, we're not just chasing the big names. Like, we think one of the best parts of hunting is building community. It's something that connects people. I mean, there's
Yeah.
no other reason we'd be doing this other than we, know someone mutually and love to hunt. And that's one of
That's
the
awesome.
awesome things about hunting. And so we were just talking beforehand that we're like, yeah, it's great to have experts on. It's awesome. And you, I'm sure, are an expert in your own way, in your own context.
Great at fixing toilets.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Yeah, exactly.
Bring
And
the
that's
plumber
what
in.
that's what this is about. This is about toilets.
Toilets. But we just want to hear from people who are passionate about hunting and hear varied number of stories.
For sure.
No imposter syndrome allowed. You are welcome here, regardless of the caliber of guests that we've had on. And the real reason is they're just dudes too, and gals.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of the biggest things we've learned is like, we're like, who are these people going to be like? And they're like, well, they're kind of just like us. Like, they like to laugh, they like to hang out, and they like to hunt. And there's nothing,
That's good. That's
magic
very,
behind the curtain.
very true. I think when I've met, can you guys hear me okay, by the way? I don't know if the audio is very good or not.
Yeah, you're great.
Okay. I've met a handful of people that, I've definitely thought of as like pretty big names, if you will. And, or that should be big names and they're not, just because they're very humble individuals. And I'm like, dude, it's mind blowing because it's like, yeah, like you said, they're just dudes, they're just gals that just love what they do, and like especially the guys that I'm thinking of, they all could probably be famous in the hunting industry, and no one would probably know their names. And like they shoot some of the biggest deer in Kansas every year.
Wow.
And it's just like, and most of it with recurve equipment, like trad gear.
Wow.
So I'm like, it's just wild. And they're just guys that have their day jobs and they love hunting and they just
love it.
This time of year, that's all we talk about now. It's like I was sitting on a group chat with them tonight. Just talking about how we have 11 months left till we get to go back to Colorado.
Oh man. Well,
one thing that's really neat for me is, and we can get into it a little bit more, but like the last 2 years, I haven't even pulled my bow back on an animal, and it's been the 2 greatest years of my life of hunting. And like that, and it really like kind of had that moment and that realization when I was in Colorado. And that's like one reason I go to Colorado is it's that time to escape. Like I had to mute all my 2 phones, my iPad, my laptop, just to get on this call. Cause like, I have 40 guys that are in the field that are talking to me all the time. We run 24/7. So I'm constantly on the phone. So that's a big part of hunting for me is like getting away and just being able to like relax a little bit and just enjoy God's creation ultimately. But I started thinking about it when I was out there this year, and I kind of the last couple of days I started realizing like, okay, this isn't gonna happen. Like there's a good chance like we can't get on the elk. Like it's not looking good for the good guys. And it was tough. Like it kind of broke my heart a little bit, obviously, being out there for 12 days and the months ahead of that preparing and training and stuff. And because we go deep, I mean, we were 10.5 miles from the truck. So like we're in there.
Wow.
And, but I just realized like there's so much more to hunting than like the kill. Like it's all about the experiences. And I think that's one thing I was like, man, I think that's what I'd like to talk about is like, there's so much more to it. Like I've shot some really nice deer, being in Kansas. And I mean, I know guys that have shot much bigger deer, and I know guys that would love to shoot what I've shot. And like thinking back on it, I typically every year when I shoot a buck, I usually write just like a short story about it, like just for myself in my notes app. And what I realized is like I was reading through those this week, and I'm like, dude, all these are like that kill shot's like a phrase in the story. Like it's so small, it's so minute compared to the experiences that I'm gathering from it, and like just the peace being out there. So like, I don't know, that's probably something I want to touch on. And I definitely
It's
would touch
great.
on like, just my like where I've come from in hunting. Like I didn't really grow up in a super hunting oriented family. Like I know families that are like way more into it. Like we definitely hunted, we killed things, you know.
Yeah.
It's like hillbillies from Kansas, you know, and you have property, you just kind of kill things. That's how it goes. But not really. I was the first person in our family to get into archery, and then I just kind of fell in love with it at probably 16 years old or whatever. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a ride, and getting to do, like I said, the last 2 years, the first 2 years in like backcountry hunting, and like that's been a dream of mine
Wow.
since I was little. And
Yeah.
yeah, and like some really good deer hunts. Yeah, crazy hunt last year that I can tell didn't end up killing it, but it was a crazy chase. And it's like, again, that like those experiences, I chase that whitetail till January 1, like every weekend, every night,
Nice.
every time I could get out there. And I saw them a ton of times. This is the problem of why I didn't fill my tag, but
Yeah.
ultimately that's part of it, you know. I mean, that's why I
Yeah.
do it, because it's harder and it's more entertaining, I guess. I don't know why I do it, honestly. I don't know. Johnny, maybe you can speak to that, why you picked one up. I don't know.
I don't have one. I don't shoot a recurve. I
That's
shoot a
me.
compound bow.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
JD
JD, so
shoots.
you
Yeah.
I
shoot.
did. Yeah, just this year I picked one up. Yeah. It was
Good.
Levi's, my
Okay.
brother-in-law, who's with Anna, and I'm holding it while they're there, or maybe indefinitely, depending on what God does. So
Yeah.
yeah, man. Well, let's jump into it. Great.
Perfect.
Would you be up for praying with us before we begin? And
Dude,
then we'll
yes, I was actually thinking, I don't know why I had this thought, but I was like, I wonder if it'd be weird if I like ask him to like all three of us pray before we start. And then I was like, I don't
there
know.
we
And
go.
then so here we are. So it worked out. God knows. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
You
Do you
know.
Yeah.
want to pray? You go for it, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll
Go
start it
ahead.
off. I'll just do the whole thing. How about that? You got the whole
How about
podcast.
that?
So
Sounds great.
I'll do the prayer.
Yeah.
All
That
right.
sounds good.
Dear God, I just thank you for these men right here, and just the way that they're working, and the way that they're just trying to serve you and honor you. And thank you for this platform that they get to have people on to share their experiences and their stories, and ultimately, hopefully, bringing glory to you, Lord. I just
Yes.
pray for this evening as we talk. I pray that you guide the conversations, and I pray that people can see you through our stories of your creation, and just are able to see you through our conversations. Pray for our sisters. Pray that you be with them, keep them safe, and help them understand, know that they're loved, and that people are thinking of them, and that they're just keep them encouraged, Lord. So I thank you for this evening. Pray that we have a good conversation, and a great time. Help it to be fun. Just why not? In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I'm not a professional prayer either, so I apologize.
Oh my gosh, dude. That was
Plumbing is about the only thing I won't tell you I'm not a professional at. Like that, I am a professional in that.
There we
that's
go.
great.
So
Oh man. No, this is gonna be fantastic. So
it'll be a good time.
good.